Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Discriminating Gamer. Recently I tried to take a picture of myself in the shower, but it was too blurry. I guess I have self esteem issues. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to go ahead and take a look at Western Legends from Kolossal Games.
Looking at the ladies and they be looking at me. Ain't causing no fuss. Well, they be like, brother, that's where I gotta be. Other than my dust. Women that happen to be my territory, but I can eat with trust. So wait a little while before you ask for a key. Hanging out the bus. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, honey, yeah, you and me on the bus. Yeah, 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 yeah. If they rolling me, might get open in my pocket, but if they did that, be fine with me. 'Cause I don't need a grand just to get a little bit busy.
We'll get back to the review in just a moment. I want to take a minute to ask you to check out my other channel, that is Cody Carlson, PhD, where we talk about history, books on history, military history. I even post some of my lectures for my classes on there. Please check that out. Please subscribe to that channel. And now, back to the review.
In Western Legends from Kolossal Games, 2 to 6 players attempt to be the most rootinest, tootinest cowboys in the Old West and earn the most legendary points. Now, first of all, I am late to the party. This is a game that's been around for about 5 or 6 years, so I'm just going to look at some of the basic mechanisms of the game and then tell you my thoughts. The game board is a map of 2 towns in the Old West, along with its environs of mines, mountains, and railroads, and players are each going to take their own individual player boards, which will have room for various items and cards throughout the game. Now, players will be dealt out a number of character cards. They'll be able to select which character card they want to play for the game, and this character is going to have various abilities and other things they can do over the course of the game. Players are also going to get certain starting items like a weapon or playing cards and a lot of other goodies. Now, every round will have certain phases. First, you have a start of turn phase. You'll check and see if any of your cards or anything have a certain start of phase event or anything that kicks off. Then you're going to go ahead, you're going to make a decision. You can take $20, or you can take $10 and a card, or you can take 2 cards. Next, you're going to go ahead and choose one of your available mounts and one of your available weapons to use during that turn of the game. Now, next you have the action phase. Essentially, a player can do all sorts of funky things. Now, the actions that players can take are, first of all, move. Now, all things being equal, you're going to be able to move 2 spaces in the board. However, if you have a mount assigned to you, then that mount can increase the number of spaces that you can move with the movement action. Now, printed on some of the player cards or the item cards or even some of the character cards, there may be certain actions you can take. So you can go ahead, declare you're taking that action, and then go ahead and resolve that action during the turn. Now, you can choose to fight another player. You can arrest them, you can duel with them, or you can rob them. And each such type of combat has a specific protocol for how you go about it. Now, the active player, once they've determined their target, they're going to go ahead and they're going to announce what type of fight this is. As I say, a rob, arrest, a duel. And then they're going to select one of their poker cards. Now, their target, they can go ahead, they can either decline, just say no, in which case the active player wins the fight, or they can engage in the fight by selecting their own poker card. Players then reveal their poker cards and they read any effects. Then if they have any other cards that have reaction abilities, they can play those at that time. Now, based on what kind of fight action it is, there are certain penalties or rewards the players may gain at that time, depending on who wins that fight. Now, typically the card values are regular poker card hands, and it's the highest valued card will win. Again, after all these other mitigating factors come into play. Now, as I say, you can take a location action. For instance, if you go to the general store, while you're there, you can purchase new items from the general store to equip your player board with. In addition to purchasing new cards, many of the cards can be upgraded by paying the cost again. You flip that card over and you get kind of the advanced version of that card. Now, while you're in a saloon, you can actually play a game of poker. Now, if any other players are in the town, they can join you in playing that game of poker. Otherwise, you're just playing against the house, which is run by one of the players next to you. But you go ahead, essentially just play a hand of poker. So it costs a $10 ante for any players to join in on that poker game. Essentially, the dealer is going to go ahead and put out cards, and you're trying to make the best hand out of that with cards that you have from your hand. The player then is, of course, going to get their ante back, but they'll also gain additional rewards depending on how that poker game is played. In addition to any money, the player that wins that poker game will also gain a legendary point. Now, at the mining location, you're going to roll 2 die. If you roll the dollar symbol, you go ahead, you get $10. If you roll the gold dust symbol, essentially you get $10 and you get a roll again. You can roll for a golden nugget. If you get that, you can place a golden nugget on your player board. And then, of course, you may just roll gravel, in which case you get nothing. Now, if you're at the bank, you can actually cash in your gold nuggets. For every nugget you cash in, you get $20 and you get a legendary point. You can never carry more than $120 in the game. Now, you also have the opportunity at the bank to rob the bank, in which case you have to engage in combat with an NPC guard. Now, if you're in a medical spot, you can pay $10 and heal your wounds. Now, at the cabaret space, you can go ahead and pay $30 to take an action to gain legendary points. Now, there are also 2 cattle spots. There's a blue and a green cattle spot. Now, you can wrangle the cattle, taking them to the railhead, and gain a marshal point, meaning you're a good guy. Or you can go ahead and you can take that cattle to the other cattle spot, and you'll gain a wanted. You gain a wanted point. You're going to be a bad guy. Now, throughout the game, that's going to be an important thing. You take some of these positive actions, you can be a marshal. You take some of the bad actions, you're going to be wanted. Each of them come with opportunities to gain legendary points and other goodies, but it can be very dangerous depending on what you decide. Now, you also have kind of these story cards, and they have spaces for a number of discs. Now, depending on player count, you can place your discs on these cards, and at the end of a round, if enough discs are on there, again, depending on player count, you can read that, and whoever had a disc on that card can gain the advantages or engage in the story that that disc provides. Usually, those story discs will give you legendary points or money or other goodies. And again, there's also the possibility to end up move forward on the marshal track or on the wanted track. Now, some of the story cards and some of the actions you do will also gain you legendary tokens. And these legendary tokens have on one side printed a point value. These are legendary points that only you know about, that you keep face down. I think you can only have 3 at a time. But you're going to keep them, as I say, face down so that other players don't know exactly how many legendary points you have. Now, as soon as one player reaches an agreed upon number on the legendary point track, players complete that round, then they take one final round, and then players go ahead and find out who wins by looking at the legendary points. You reveal your hidden legendary point tokens, and whoever has the most legendary points wins. Western Legends. Now, as I say, I am late to the party. This game has been around for a long, long time. And I have never had a chance to play it. I had a friend that had it, and we were talking about playing it, but we never got a chance to. And it's one I'd always wanted to play. It looked like it was a lot of fun. I like the cowboy theme, and I like big open sandbox games where you can kind of do anything that also have kind of a real strong story element. And so I was looking forward to one day playing this. And finally, just out of the blue, one day I contacted Kolossal Games. I let them know. I said, hey, I would love to review a copy of this. I don't know if it's something you have review copies for. They said, sure. They went ahead. They sent me a copy of this game. And it turns out that my friend Ray, who lives here, he's actually played this game many times. So we sat down with him and another friend of ours. We played this game. And he introduced it to me, kind of taught me how to play. And we were able to review it. So I'll tell you right now, it's one of Ray's favorite games. Ray absolutely loves this game. But will Cody? Well, so the game, frankly, reminds me of some of the great sandbox games. I'm thinking here Merchants and Marauders, or Zaya, Legends of a Drift System, or Firefly, the board game. I really like these kinds of games that just kind of let you loose in the universe, let you do whatever you want. You can have some player interaction, or you can kind of pursue your own goals. You can do whatever you want. And here, too, it's got something that's pretty cool. Kind of like some of those other games, you can run afoul of the law, and a sheriff can come out and start hunting you down here. Not unlike, the Federation coming after you in Firefly, right? So there's that. You can play the game as a good guy, or you can play the game as a bad guy, or you can just kind of straddle the line. So it's a really interesting game in its sandbox element. It does the sandbox thing extraordinarily well. I really like the story cards. I like how I mean, a lot of them are kind of similar and samey, and I've heard they do get spiced up a little bit more with some of the expansions. But just what there was in the game, I really enjoyed. I liked how they gave you like little missions and objectives that so you may have an overall strategy, but you can also chase some of these other things too along the way in order to gain those rewards that are going to come from those story cards. I really like that a lot. I like the player interaction of this game when you do have those um, combats that pop up from time to time. You may have a lot of money, somebody else wants it, he's going to rob you, right? Or maybe you've run afoul of the law, wants to collect the bounty on your head. So those kinds of things are really fun as well. I got to admit though, one of my absolute favorite parts of this game is the poker. I love how you can go to the saloon and you can play poker. You can just play it against the house, or if other people are in town, you can play it against them. It is super fun. It's just it kind of again immerses you in the game, and it kind of gives you a chance to uh, I don't know, play a mini game. Well, it is. It's like a mini game within the larger game here, and it's super fun. Now, if you're not in the town when somebody's playing poker, it may slow down the game a little bit for you. But generally speaking, I don't think it goes on so long that it really lengthens the game. Typically, the game's like about 90 minutes or so. It wasn't very long. It's fun, and it feels like every minute of the game you're invested and you're getting something out of it. And you're interested too. It seemed to me like this is one of those games where you're interested in what other people are doing, the choices they're making on their turn, even when they don't necessarily directly affect you. I think which is pretty cool and fun. But again, it just tells a great story. This is a wonderful storytelling game. I really like it. I like the theme. I like the different things you can do. I like the stories it tells. This is a phenomenal game. I really enjoyed Western Legends quite a bit. This is a game, frankly, I'm kicking myself I didn't play this one earlier because I would have absolutely fallen in love with it much sooner than I did, and I could have played it a lot more than I have by this point. Great game. Thoroughly enjoy it. I'm looking forward to hitting this again and again with some friends in the years to come. This is definitely going on my shelf. Definitely going to be played again. Recommendation for the discriminating gamer for Western Legends is this is a fantastic game. Buy it. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us today on The Discriminating Gamer. As always, we ask you to please leave a comment for us on YouTube, on Board Game Geek, on our Facebook page, or on thediscriminatinggamer.com. We'd ask you to please like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter. I'd also ask you, ladies and gentlemen, to please check out my other channel, that is Cody Carlson, PhD, where we talk about military history, books on history. I even post some of my lectures on there. I'd ask you to go ahead and check that out, and please subscribe to that channel. It would mean a lot to me. Also, we'd ask you to give a thumb to this video on Board Game Geek, and if you are a fan of the channel, you like the kind of content we bring here, I'd humbly ask you to click on the Super Thanks button and leave a tip. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't stop emailing files to people. I've got attachment issues.
Please somebody help me.